One of the greatest advancements in evolution is the human eye. But even then, the human eye is purely just a vessel that collects light as data for our brains to decode. When photographing our existence in black and white, we simplify that process, and in return, we don't just see details of color that fire off parts of our brain. Instead, we get to see the full image, edge to edge, as one whole piece. And that's the beauty behind the Leica Q3 Monochrom. An interesting relationship with black and white photography. Every time I try to shoot a roll of black and white film, I do a handful of frames and then I never finish the roll, and I end up just getting rid of the roll because I am somebody that loves color. Color is a huge part of my world building and a part of my vision. That's the reason all of my prescription glasses have warm rosy tints to them. Now, this is a topic I'm going to talk about more in the near future. I have a really big video planned around this topic, and it's around my photography theories on how black and white really affects the brain versus how color affects the brain. So I'll save more of that in-depth conversation for that video. But in this video, we're talking about the new Leica Q3 Monochrom. No, they're not letting me keep this camera. No, they're not paying me. I wish I was allowed to keep this camera though, because that would be amazing. Our eyeballs are basically tunnels. They're vessels that carry light to our brain, and our brain has to communicate and translate all that information. So when we shoot color photography, those colors can be distracting. You can use those colors to your advantage, obviously. Imagine a subject in red clothing and the red is just popping and your brain gets fixated on that red. Versus if you flip that image into black and white, all of a sudden your brain's not fixated on the subject. It's fixated on the whole image. And that's the unique thing with black and white, is it forces your brain to analyze the full image first. And then if it's intriguing enough, your eye goes in tighter, goes in closer, starts looking at the details. That's the beauty of black and white. Now, what's interesting about this Leica Q3 Monochrome is it acts like black and white film.
It's like I'm on my tiptoes, baby. You think a little too small. I got big goals, baby. Hey, where the money at? Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my gun, but please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I work too hard for it. No, I need to beat it before you mess up the mood. Yeah, ooh, I work too hard for it. And I need it
so traditionally, there's certain colored filters that people love to use for black and white because it increases contrast and it could deepen the blues in the skies and yada, yada, yada. I've always kind of went the opposite end, and I've always used a blue filter. This is my #1 secret to my black and white photography. When you're using a blue filter, all of the cooler tones in your image are going to be more punchy and brighter, and all of the warmer tones in the image are going to be deeper and darker. So you can imagine when you're shooting portraits of people and you put a blue filter on this, it deepens their skin tones. It almost gives it like a deep satin leather type look to the skin, creating like almost an inverted contrast. And I'm assuming the effect that it has on people, same effect that it has on me, to where that unique perspective that doesn't look like real life, it almost creates escapism. You know, escapism is, you know, when you go to the movies and you feel that rush when the lights turn down and the music comes up and you feel the bass rumbling and that movie's about to begin, and there's like this odd excitement that I don't think a lot of people even pay attention to, but it's there. It's almost like an amusement ride. I feel like unique photography, whether it's black and white or color, when it doesn't represent realism and there's something more poetic about it, I feel like that's what really captivates people's mind. So this camera is an extremely unique experience to use because you are locked in to that black and white photography. So all the image that you guys are seeing in this video, majority of it is with the blue filter. And that's what's beautiful about this camera is it's a true black and white. They're not just converting it in camera, which I had assumptions in the past that maybe that's what monochrome cameras were. No, no, no. They're removing the filter off of the sensor that's made to collect and communicate those spectrums of light onto the processor and blah, 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 blah. Top of that too, as it was explained to me from the people over at Leica, you know, they open it up a little bit more. It's a glass filter on top of the sensor, and those glass filters have micro lenses on them and a bunch of other stuff. So when they start removing all this stuff off the filter, it starts collecting even more light. You guys are seeing an image right now that I shot at high ISO. Take a quick guess, and if you want, put it down in the comments and guess what the ISO was for this image. So as I was saying in the filter part of the segment, when they start removing all of that filtration off of the sensor, it allows the sensor to collect even more light. So our low light performance is amazing. Our noise performance is amazing, and it gives you so much more latitude, the sharpness, everything just gets a little bit more cleaned up. And even when there is noise, the noise oddly has like a very fine grain look to it. There's not like this blotchy, smudgy, smeary type look to it. It has a fine grain to it. So now the image that I told you guys to guess, hopefully some of you guys put it down in the comments. And I lifted the blacks in post as well. So we're getting even more noise out of this. That is incredible. Most colored sensors, you know, you can go up to 12,800 ISO and you're gonna have to be doing some AI denoising or some fancy tricks to, you know, hide some of that noise. Now, if you guys don't know about the Leica Q3, I actually own both Q3 43 and the standard Q3. Love the Q3 43, but sometimes that 43mm lens on it is a little too tight. So I bought the 28. For a day or two, I loved it, but I quickly kind of fell out of love with it. This, totally different story. Because shooting in black and white, you have no distractions while you're using this camera. All you see is your whole frame. All you get to see is the balance of the image, the contrast of the image, the expression of your subject in the image. It's truly a beautiful experience shooting only in black and white. The image quality coming out of these Leica Q3 cameras and lens setups, when they design a fixed lens camera, they're able to, you know, get their lens elements as close as possible and as optimized as possible for the sensor. So the sharpness on here, you're not getting, again, that Sony sandpaper digital sharp sight look from the G Master lenses. G Master lenses for Sony is amazing, but a lot of the times it's had like this gross sandpaper clinical sharpness to it that I don't like. The thing with Leica glass is they somehow really balance out ultra sharp without making it look disgusting. You know, like skin texture doesn't pop off the image, but the eyes that are in focus do pop off the image. So to me, that's incredibly important to have as a fashion photographer and a portrait photographer. Even more interesting on top of what we're talking about with the monochrome sensor is using it for video. That's exactly what we're trying here. So you can see we have the Leica Q3 Monochrom on my iFootage slider. I'll be doing a video on this slider at some point. A lot of my more cinematic intros have been with this Nano 2 660 slider here, and it's an amazing slider. But again, I'll save that for another time in another video. Now, what's crazy is we have full-on L-log on this, and it does 8K on top of that, which is just insane. So you can see I'm in cinema 8K 17:9. We're in the 23.98 frames per second. If I go up, you can see we get up to 30 frames per second and 8K. And then if we go down to Cinema 4K, you can see we also get 60 frames per second. So the shots you guys are seeing are filmed in L-log. So I have zero clue what this is gonna be like to color grade because there's no color in it. But yeah, so I find this super intriguing and interesting. You guys are seeing the footage before I even got to see it. Also, you deeper thinkers out there, the movie that I had on the TV over here was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Roger Deakins was the DP on that film, and it was the first film to ever be digitally color graded. And so it has such a unique, beautiful look because they shot it on motion picture film, but then it was digitally color graded. And this film was the beginning of my favorite era of filmmaking. And that's when they were shooting on motion picture film and then digitally color grading it. And it just has such a beautiful look from the late 90s into the early 2000s. It's just stunning. So also does video. Super interesting. Again, it's picking up way more dynamic range and it's edging that IR spectrum of light and everything. So kind of cool. Again, this is all the same thing as a standard Leica Q3. It's just the sensor is monochrome. My favorite thing about the design of this though, is they don't have the gross texture on the Leica Q3 43 that I'm not a fan of. It has like a diamond pattern to it. On the monochrome, they have more of this leather textured skin on here. I don't think it's actual leather though. I think it's probably like a rubber that's texturized, but I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And all the numbering and lettering and everything on the camera is all monochrome. There's no bits of color anywhere on the design here. Now, real quick on the accessories on here, shout out to Grant over at Analogous. He designs these brass bottom plates for the Leica Q3 and Q2 systems. This whole plate is made out of brass and he custom anodizes the ones he sends to me. And I think he sells these now. So you get little hints of brass coming through here. Over time, the brass will start showing even more. On top of that, this is his new grip edition. I'm pretty sure these are available on his website now, but I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm obsessed with stripes. This is my rough out Rambler strap that I collabed with Clever Supply Co. Traditionally on leather straps, the rough outside goes on the inside. Well, we put it on the outside because I love texture. From there, we have all genuine brass hardware. I wanted it double riveted just for security. And it is an adjustable strap. Cause say if I'm, riding in the back of a truck trying to shoot some cowboy stuff, or I'm on my motorcycle and I'm shooting off the hip, I like my straps to be a little bit tighter, but then if I'm on photo shoots and stuff, I like them to be a little bit looser, closer to my hip and dangling a little bit more. Now let's talk about some of the possible downsides. As I've learned, one of the downsides to a monochrome sensor is they cannot utilize face detection autofocus, because I guess face detection autofocus relies on color as one of its aspects of being so amazing. This is contrast-based autofocus. With that said, for the most part, it worked just fine. There's only one moment during the fashion shoot that the autofocus was messing up, and that was because I had it in auto face detection, and Sedona was behind the model. Sedona is my dog, if you guys do not know, and the camera was picking up on her. And somehow in the moment, I didn't realize it. Again, I was trying to film BTS and there's a million things going on. I'm juggling multiple cameras. That's kind of the downside of just YouTube, is rarely do I get to just, enjoy doing photography with one camera. I'm always juggling things for content. I'm not complaining. I'm extremely blessed and grateful that this is, that this is my job. But anyways, outside of that, you're gonna get some of the similar quirks that you get with contrast-based autofocus. It likes to pump sometimes. So say if the light was funky on the model's face, you could feel it pumping, but as I was shooting, it was still capturing her face. But honestly, for the most part, while we were shooting, there wasn't any moments where I'm like, oh, this autofocus is being an issue, or this, or I gotta change the setting for this or that. I'm trying to think back, and I don't think there was any moment where I felt like that. Now, I only get 48 hours with this camera. So, I'm not gonna be doing a deep dive on here and finding out the ups and downs of it. This isn't a review video. This is purely a showcase of me checking out a camera that I've never tried before. And, that's the only information that I have. All right, guys, it's time to Blues Clues this camera. I gotta send it back. And I'm really bummed because genuinely, this has been a really fun experience to use this camera. At first, a digital monochrome camera didn't really intrigue me, but now after using it, it's kind of been like a visual reset for my brain. Obviously on your cameras, you could probably put it into monochrome mode and get a similar experience, but you're not gonna get all the upsides of a true dedicated monochrome camera, which again, everything I've been talking about with dynamic range, sharpness, low light performance, them pushing the limits on the spectrums of light that they're picking up, all those little things. Really, you're getting way closer to an actual black and white film experience and file result. Kind of shocked that I am kind of sad that I have to send this back. And I think part of that is because it kind of Leica's already about the minimalistic photography experience, to where they just give you your shutter dial, your aperture ring, your ISO, And, you know, that's all you need to really enjoy the photography experience. And having added stuff is great if you're a professional and you're working and everything. The extra bells and whistles, you know, can come in handy. But when it comes to just enjoying the photography experience, that's why I love Leica so much. Because I did professional work for a decade now, and I'm like burnt out on commercial work and everything. I still take it on every now and again. But anyways, having a monochrome sensor minimalizes even more. And it just kind of, it's challenging almost, because it's telling your brain like, hey, you don't have any bells and whistles or tricks to get a good photo. You have to actually work to get a good photo out of this. And I'm not saying image quality wise, I'm saying composition wise, storytelling wise, emotion wise, like the actual photography experience. You get a little bit more challenged with this. I think that's what I love most about this. So I wasn't expecting my brain to get so captivated with the black and white sensor, a monochrome sensor like this. It put me in a stoic mindset. So even most of the talking head stuff for this video, I was in a weird mindset, like a beautiful mindset of just kind of at peace and fulfilled. Kind of odd how certain cameras can do that. When we're so used to all these modern fancy computers in our hands, it sometimes takes away the emotion of it. And obviously, you know, the community has really focused on like professional needs, and I think it's kind of went overboard on people. Like, it's like if you buy a camera, you're not making money with that camera, then you're looked at in a negative way. And I don't like that, because photography is supposed to be an art form. So I don't know. I'm going on tangents here, but let's get back into the rest of the video, because I gotta get to UPS and send this back to Leica today. I only had it for like 2 or 3 days. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If there's anything you guys want to know when I do my more intentional, bigger video about black and white photography, put it down in the comments, and you know, basically you'll help me brainstorm on how to better communicate my photography theories on color and black and white. I hope you guys enjoy this video, some of the photography in it, and I'm gonna go finish my wine and go to bed. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for, you know, just, you know, being here and allowing me to do what I do. It's very special, and I do not take it for granted. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And yeah, that's it. Peace.